What up, y'all? I'm back with another review, but this isn't just any review. I'm here to review the sixth and final studio album from A Tribe Called Quest entitled We Got It From Here. Thank you for your service. Now, this album title was chosen by Phife. They had the rest of the group members had no idea why he chose it like this, but they chose this title, but they went ahead and kept it. I'm assuming they kept it um, following his death. They said we're just not gonna change this. Now I'm not sure if this would have changed if Phife never passed. But still, rest in peace to Phife. Anyway, there are some tribute songs about him on the second half, and like I said, no regular review. Tribe Called Quest is one of my top 8 favorite rap groups hip hop groups of all time, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you know right now they just solidified themselves as one of the top 5 or 4 greatest hip hop groups of all time with this album, and with other albums as well. I've heard every album in their discography, actually, except for the Love Movement, which was originally their 5th and final studio album. Now this is their 6th and studio album. I have not heard that, but I'm going to. So eventually I can do a video breaking down my favorite and what I just think are the best Tribe Called Quest albums. And speaking of that, for this video, this being a special video, it being a Tribe Called Quest last studio album, and being one of the top 5 or 4 greatest groups of all time, and for Phife Dawg especially, I wanted to show you these. This is the Low End Theory. A lot of y'all know about this. It's a classic in hip hop. Most of their albums are classics in hip hop anyway, but people really hold this in the highest regards. It's not, the original cover is not here because I have that on my wall. But second album, and arguably their best one. I'm not gonna say I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I'm more of a fan of Midnight Marauders, to be honest with you. A Tribe Called Quest, the anthology. This is one like a greatest hits album, but this is like one of like 3 or 4. Has all of their greatest hits from every album. They're gonna have to do another greatest hits album because a few songs from this project should at least make the next greatest hits album, which I would probably buy as well. People's Instinctive Travels in the Paths of Rhythm, the first studio album back in 1990. This is the reissued copy cover, and I actually prefer this over the Low End Theory. This might be my second favorite. It might be my second favorite, Midnight Marauders being my first one. And speaking of which, here's Midnight Marauders, their third studio album back in 1993. Favorite album without question. Favorite songs on here would have to be, of course, Award Tour, Electric Relaxation, Lyrics to Go. Lyrics to Go might be my favorite Tribe Called Quest song of all time. I mean, it's just there for me. It's got that nice, not necessarily jazzy, but that nice cold, and I don't mean cold like a Wu-Tang way, but just a nice up north cold street hip hop sound to it at nighttime. Like I said, favorite one without question. And Beats, Rhymes, and Life, probably my favorite Tribe Called Quest album cover. This is, it's just amazing. I mean, I love it. Some of my favorite tracks from Tribe are on here too, like Stressed Out, Mind Power, Get a Hold, Crew, Phony Rappers. Like once again, some of my favorite tracks on here. But we can get into a whole discussion on what I think are the best Tribe albums and which ones are particularly my favorite. I'd definitely go back and listen to all these plus the Love Movement and listen to this album again before we do that. But we can definitely do that. And if you want to see that, let me know in the comment section. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this review. I'm already 4.5 minutes in. 16 tracks long, and there are 2 discs, 8 tracks on each one. 16 tracks long. And just how many minutes is this? This is, there's not really. This album is actually is exactly an hour, just a little over an hour, but not even an hour and a minute. So a longer album, but it's cool because this is a good album. Now let's go ahead and get right into this review. Track number 1, Space Program. So I was just letting you know right now that they ain't no niggas, and how um, they've been in the game so long, and they've seen everything from 1989. First album came out in 90, but from 1989 all the way to just like 98. Even though Fife wasn't on the fifth album, they've seen everything that the industry has to offer. Even being 18 years removed from having a new project or any new music out, they still are up on this new era, this new industry. They're not these old heads. They're older, but they're not these old heads who can't get with the new generation and don't know how this shit works. They know how this shit works. Some of the old practices that were being used when they were the young guys, the new guys on the scene, still being used today. So they've seen it all. The industry really can't get them. And it talks about getting together. Well, yeah, getting together for the people and how there ain't no space ain't no space program for niggas. This this shit is one of my favorite tracks on here, and actually some of my favorite tracks are on this first half, this first disc. But I think that the second half is better. But we'll get into that. Track number 2, We the People. This is a song about minorities feeling like they're the real people, but they're not getting treated like so. And just naming like the blacks, Mexicans or Hispanics, and the Spanish people, uh, the LGBT community, and all the bad people and how they must go. Track number 3, Whatever Will Be, featuring Consequence, who was featured on Beats, Rhymes, and Life, I remember. And is a regular. He's a Tribe Called Quest affiliate, and he's featured like 3 times at least on this project. This is a song about just saying whatever's gonna happen, it's just gonna happen. It's gonna be what it is. Like the media scaring people with corrupt coverage, and some people are gonna run, some people are gonna crawl, some people will fall, some will stand tall. But whatever is gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Track number 4, Solid Wall of Sound. This is you're gonna really get in the beginning. Well, no, towards the end. Just a very soulful outro from Elton John. And Jack White's featured on here too. But this is a song where just letting you know you're gonna hear the electric music, solid, good music from Tribe, and Busta Rhymes is featured on here. But like I said, smooth, peaceful, soulful outro from Elton John and Jack White on this one. Track number 5, probably my favorite track on here, featuring Busta Rhymes again. And as you know, Busta Rhymes really got himself on the scene when he was featured on Scenario with the Tribe Called Quest. They're just saying you can still get good hip hop from this generation. Like they named Kendrick, Cole, Joey, and Earl. I really love the Earl because I think Earl's one of the most underrated rappers in the game right now. He's my second favorite behind Big Crit. Joey, he's on some new stuff right now, but he's still one of my favorite rappers. I keep going back to Before the Money. And of course, Kendrick. And Cole, I can definitely see why they say he is, but I just don't think he's as good as everyone makes him out to be. But yes, he is a good rapper, so it's cool to see him mentioned on here. They didn't necessarily mention Big Crit. I knew they weren't going to mention Kevin Gates, but even though they didn't mention Big Crit, it's not a problem because they got these 4. They hit it the nail right on the coffin with this. And not only are they saying you can still get good music from this generation, with good hip hop from this generation, you can still get it from the older guys like Tribe and Busta. Track number 6, Kids, featuring Andre 3000. Speaking of an older dude and top 10 of all time, some even say top 5. This is just a message to the kids to get up and get something. And how even like teenagers, guys my age, 19, about to be extremely young adults, well, already a young adult, just thinking that you the shit and you can get whatever you want handed to you. And how to stop giving your parents a hard time, because you need to go to them for advice, because they used to be just like you, doing and saying exactly what you're saying now with the same attitude and the same mentality. And one funny line on here was when they said your parents looking at you like, why the hell you slamming the damn door like you pay bills around here. That's some classic shit. That's some shit that would be said. Track number 7, Melatonin. This is like a black empowerment song featuring the one and only Marsha Ambrosius and Abby Smith. No, I'm not gonna say one of the slower songs on this album, but it's not like one of the most. It's not one of my favorites, but it's not like it's bad. There's no bad song on here actually. I don't know if I've ever heard a bad Tribe Called Quest song, to be honest with you. And I can't say that about even some of my favorite groups. Like I can't say. Actually, no. only song I can say, and it pains me to say this, Outkast, Mamacita. That was the only song I was like, why is this on Aquemini? It's the only song. Every other was just not goodness. But track number 8, Enough. Last track on the double first disc. It's just a song about asking if the love and the time that's being given to your girl is enough. Everyone who's being featured, everyone who raps on this is asking that, especially Tip. And like I said, just asking if the love and the time being shown and given is enough. And here we go. Next track. What was this track called? Mobius? Because I didn't write anything down for Mobius, featuring Consequence and Busta Rhymes. I didn't write anything for this because this was the only track where I was like, not that I don't like it, but I really just don't have too much to say about it. So I didn't write anything. So yeah, Melatonin beat this track. But track number 10, second track of this second disc, Black Spitz Diamond. I'm not gonna say it's just a black song, but it is, well, a black song. I mean, shit. I'm not sure if Q is rapping from the standpoint of Fife in Heaven, but he's definitely rapping from the standpoint of his nigga spirit that's talking to him and letting him know that he needs to keep it real, especially with those who they be running into when they're at a label and acting like they're just not fans, and all the other stuff that comes with being an OG in the game. Because there's still work to be done, and he's letting Q-Tip know that, yeah, I'm looking out and I'm hoping you can make me proud. So I'm like, sounds like the nigga spirit, and maybe Fife was talking to him as well. And this song was featuring Consequence, who had a pretty good verse as well. Track number 11, The Killing Season, featuring Kanye, Talib Kweli, and Consequence. Again, yeah, this Kanye on this hook was cool. I don't know if he was trying to say soldier, you sold your soul, you soda, but it was very soulful from Kanye. Talib Kweli he got a lot of praise on Twitter for his verse on here, which he should have, and Consequence as well. Consequence, of course, didn't get much as Talib, but still, it's good to see this track right here. One of my favorite tracks on here as well. And really because Kanye, not because it's Kanye, but what Kanye was doing on the hook. Track number 4, 12th track on the whole album, Lost Somebody. And this is just a dedication to Fife. And you can just relate to this even if it's if you don't know Fife. If you just lost somebody, you can relate to this track. And Katia Cadet, her vocals were just perfect. I mean, they were just perfect. This is one of my favorite tracks on here as well. I need to download this actually. It reminds me of Crossroads. You may not necessarily know the people or the person being rapped about in the song who it's dedicated and is a tribute to, but you can still relate to it if you just lost somebody. But this one would just happen to be about Fife, but you can still relate to it. Track number, I'm just gonna say 13. It's the 5th track on this double disc, but still. Track number 13, Moving Backwards, featuring Anderson .Paak. He's just talking about, well, they're all talking about how we're just trying to move forward and be a boss, like not necessarily like Pac, but just be a boss, because Pac feels that he's a boss, like he's 2 top tiers away from being a boss, and stop moving backwards, especially with the blacks getting shot senselessly in the street with no lines of self-defense. We might as well start thinking and moving forward by getting some guns ourselves. I'm like, sounds like a good idea. Track number 6, Conrad Tokyo, featuring Kendrick Lamar. This is Fife saying that Chiv's back, and this is really Kendrick who really made this track, if you ask me. Fife really set a tone and a feel in the space for Kendrick to come in and say what he said. And he's talking about the abomination that's worldwide, not just in America, and how it's all based on skin color. And and he's also talking about the toleration of the sin that's being committed, the senseless killing because of skin color, and everything else that comes in goes with that. Not just senseless killing, but any toleration of sin that exists. And gone tomorrow, but blood on the ground. Gone tomorrow, blood on the ground. Sayonara tomorrow, blood on the ground. And Kendrick keeps saying that, and he really came in hard. Like he was rapping fast, but he was smooth with it. He wasn't trying to do too much. It goes perfectly with this beat, and their vocals sound like I don't know what it necessarily sounds like they're recording from, but these vocals are not just some normal recorded vocals at all. Track number 15. Ego. This is a song about the bad, not necessarily the good that ego does to you or for you. And Q-Tip even said that it's not even really a positive situation to talk about. Some are gonna hate it, some are gonna like it or love it. Some can't even can say people can't relate to it. I'm just trying to rhyme right there. What am I talking about? He just talks about what it does and makes you do, and how you need it, especially when you're balling or falling. He even gave you a scenario when you're in your cubicle and everyone's saying you're fat and lazy and shit, you're not smart, and you're all this and that, and then your supervisor or in your cubicle sees that you need it, and you give the idea, and they're like, oh, that's a good idea. Next thing you know, you feel good about yourself. Your ego is back after hearing all that shit that people keep talking about you. It's like, okay, not only is he telling you about a situation, telling you about this subject, but he's giving you a situation to go with this so you can really picture and learn from something. Perfect. And track number 16. Last track on this project, and of course the last on the second disc. The Donald featuring Busta Rhymes and Katia Cadet. I'm not sure, but this is Busta setting the tone for Vice Verse by gassing him up, and also gassing Tribe up, saying that they're back together for another album. They just don't want any trouble. Then Fife comes in, showing his MC ego, and of course Tip comes in. Classic Q-Tip. I mean lyrics to go Q-Tip. It was that, and like I said, Tribe was just back for another album. Didn't want any trouble. And they didn't get any trouble because this was a good ass album. Like I said, I think the second half, like musically, the first half, not to say there weren't any messages, but the first half felt more of a musical standpoint. But it's not like there weren't any messages on this first half, on the first disc. I mean, Kids, This Generation, It's All the Wall Sound, Melatonin, Whatever Will Be, Space Program, We the People. I just think that the second half is better because, well, actually, no, it might have to be a tie. Mobius kind of holds that back. But Blast Spasmodic definitely helps. Killing Season helps. Lost Somebody helps. Moving Backwards definitely helps. Conrad Tokyo definitely helps. Ego, probably the most visual song on this project, definitely helps. And the Donald really sets a tone for the album, the second half, and just the album, like, this is a celebration. It's the final Tribe Called Quest album. Some are gonna be sad, no more Tribe, but some are glad because they ended on a good note after Violet's passed. Now will they do it again after another member passes? Who knows? But it's looking like this is it, last one, no matter what happens. That is pretty much it. I'm sure there will be more songs, like a dedication song, but another album after someone passes, no, probably a dedication song, especially from the group, solo artists, solo artists, and maybe even some awareness and love from the hip hop community, which they should give them because this was a good ass album. And I might just say Tribe has the best discography in hip hop. You can put them up there with, people say Kanye, so I guess I'll put him in there, but I'm not too sure about that. Scarface, Tribe Called Quest, The Roots, etc. But that's pretty much it. If you like this project, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below and what you think about my review on it. Also, be sure to hit the like button if you like this review. Share the video, subscribe if you're new, get me on Twitter, Facebook, AudioMac, SoundCloud, Instagram, and hit up my email for business or anything. And like I said, the business email is DynamicJAB@gmail.com. If you need your music chopped and screwed, reviewed, if you need beats made, or you want to be featured on one of my upcoming DJ mixtapes, DynamicJAB@gmail.com in the description. Or if it's easy for you to get me on social media, like I said, Twitter, Facebook, it's all in the description. Leave a comment on this video, actually, if it's easy for you that way. And we'll see what we can get done. Thank you for watching. Check the description. Listen to this album and also buy it because it's definitely worth it. I'd recommend you just buy it, hard copy as well, before you even listen to it. Thank you for watching. And thank you, Tribe Called Quest. Definitely top 5, top 4 hip hop groups of all time. I'm gonna get this album and the Love Movement after I listen to that. Well, I'll probably buy it before listening to it because it's just Tribe. It's gonna be good anyway. And finally, for the 5th time probably, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.